everyone. Welcome back to Then and Now. I'm Julian Zelizer of The Long View.
And I'm Jonathan Alter of Old Goats.
So, John, the news in Iran has clearly accelerated since we last spoke. We are now in a full-scale military operation there, and the situation continues to unfold. And there's been a lot of comparisons and discussions about how this compares with Iraq in 2003. When the United States went in. Back then, obviously, we were in the aftermath of 9/11. We had already gone into Afghanistan and knocked down temporarily the Taliban regime. And the buildup to the war in the United States with Iraq, as we know, was a full-scale push by the administration that included pushing faulty intelligence and misleading information and claims about Hussein and his connection to 9/11 and weapons of mass destruction that were later not what the administration said. It became a long war, a controversial war, a costly war, and one that had a huge effect on American politics, including on President Trump, who until recently kind of positioned himself against that. So, thinking about that in that moment, how do you see the comparison between that and where we are today?
So it's really important when you do these historical analogies not to overdo it and assume that history is going to repeat itself. But, as Mark Twain said, it does rhyme. So at that time, one of the key lines was from Colin Powell, who unfortunately put his credibility on the line to peddle lies about Iraq having weapons of mass destruction. And that war and this war were both predicated on lies. Trump lied when he said that Iran posed an imminent threat. The Republicans on the Senate Intelligence Committee said they won't have an ICBM until 2035 at the earliest. So that was just a flat out lie. He lied when he said that their nuclear capacity had been obliterated in last June. But there are these important differences. So when Colin Powell said, Pottery Barn rule, if you break it, you own it, that was true for Iraq. That's true when you have boots on the ground. It's not true if you're just using an aerial assault. You can kind of play 52 card pickup with a country and then walk away. And that's what Trump is going to do in the next couple of weeks. He's not going to let this be a tar baby. When Hegseth says, we could have boots on the ground, Hegseth is an idiot, but that was actually the right thing to say, because you never want to say to your enemies, you're not going to put boots on the ground. That's not smart. And actually, Bill Clinton did that with Serbia in 1998. And I wrote at the time in Newsweek, that was a big mistake. You don't take anything off the table. But I think even Trump is not crazy enough to send, hundreds of thousands of troops to occupy Iran. So that's unlikely to happen. And that would be a very big difference from the Iraq war. The big similarity is it's easy to start a war. It's a lot harder to end it. And extracting ourselves from this and dealing with the inevitable surprises is going to be very challenging, not just for Trump, but for the country in the next few weeks.
And I'll just add, John, one other difference. For all the many, many problems of the Bush buildup, they at least approached Congress and made a misleading case, but took that part of it as essential to the process, whereas here, Congress was basically written out altogether. So it's just a step up of presidential power.
That's all true. And I do think they should go to Congress. But, Obama didn't go to Congress.
Yeah.
When the tradition going back quite a ways is that if it's air power alone, they don't have to go to Congress, and it's not right. But that has been the way it's gone for administrations of both parties. And I think it's the other thing to keep in mind is And I think this was a bad idea. They should not have done this, but it's also a bad idea to like stop it right now. Like, if you're going to destroy the Iranian Navy, finish the job,
Hmm.
so that you don't have to go back later and to keep the Straits of Hormuz open. So I think this war does need to go on for at least a few more days until they complete the mission of taking out the Iranian Navy.
Well, that was then and now, and we'll be back next week to talk about a new issue. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Julian.
Bye bye.